everyone, and I'll open the meeting at 5:39 p.m. on the 14th of March 2024 in Council Chambers. I'll start off by, on behalf of the Curtin Student Guild, paying respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander members of our community and acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are on today, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I feel deeply grateful to live on land belonging to one of the world's oldest and continuing cultures, and I respect the contribution they make to the life of this university and the broader region. Move on to attendance. Today members present we have today, Hannah, Nini, Imari, Jackie, myself, Thane, and Feliz. Online as well we have Xavier, Kim, and Arifin. Others present is online Joanne, Paul, Max, Mitch, and that is it. Apologies we have from Cadence and Jasmine. No absent, I believe. Okay, moving on. Do we have any potential or perceived conflicts of interest on anything on this agenda that anyone needs to declare? No? Excellent. Okay, minutes of the previous meeting. I have a motion here that the Representation Board approves the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 15th of the 2nd, 2024 as a true and accurate record of the proceedings. Would anyone like to move that motion? Thane? Anyone like to second that? Nini? I don't know why I just... Sorry, Hannah. Any discussion on that one? Thane, Hannah, sorry, Nini. Anyone else? It's definitely all good. Okay, can I please see hands in favour of that motion? Nini? Okay, any against? I'll take that as carried then. And then we'll move on. Any matters arising from the minutes? I'll just note as well that we have signed on to the Darlington statement since the last meeting. We're not on the website yet. Jasmine is following that up, and I've started engaging with certain portfolio managers in the guild to make sure that we're a bit more in line with that statement properly and having a look at a few of our processes and forms and whatnot. So exciting times. Anything else arising from those minutes that anyone needs to bring up? Nope, awesome. 6, public question time. We have no members of the public today. So sad. So I'll move on. Number 7, items not for discussion. I don't believe we have any. All good. Okay, let's go on to reports. We have Jasmine's report first. She's not here, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask now. You can take it as read later. Nope, we're all good. Okay, we'll go on to mine. I'll take it as read, but I'll add as well a little bit of update on self-certification. So there was a bit of a surprise agenda that was sent, a surprise item that was put on the LSEC agenda recently that me and Jasmine didn't realise was coming up. It was a proposal for self-certifications going forward, not for approval, just sort of for discussion and noting. The proposal currently is a little bit of an in-between of what some of the members of staff and university want and what the guild wants. It's not too bad, to be quite honest. We got a lot of things that we want. So first of all, it seems that self-certifications are here to stay. It looks like this will remain for a 5-day extension. Same for like 2 for full-time, 1 for part-time. The one thing that will be changed, and also there is a move towards automation, which is what we want, instead of staff having to do it themselves. The one thing that we don't really like that was put on the table is that certain assessment types will not be available for self-certification. These include scheduled tests and examinations, presentations, practical assessments, and group work. This is one that the uni is very big on, unfortunately. We tried to make a case that these are no different to any other assessment in terms of the way self-certifications work. We did argue about this. It's very hard to push on. Now, this hasn't been approved yet, so we're still going to push on this, but currently that is where it's sitting, just as an update. And hopefully we'll be able to give you more updates soon. Besides that, I'll take it as read. Does anyone have any questions for me? All good? I'll move on to faculty business and law representative. What do we do, Jackie's report? Okay, sorry. Never mind, it's not my agenda. Jackie's report next. Do you want to add anything to it?
No, I'm happy to take it as table, but of course I'm open for questions if anyone has any.
Any questions for Jackie? Not seeing any? Okay. Faculty of Business and Law Representative Hannah, do you have anything to add to your report?
I'll take it as table, but happy to answer questions.
Any questions for Hannah? Not seeing any. 8.4, Thane?
I'm happy to take it as tabled, but if you guys have any questions, I'm very willing to elaborate.
Any questions for Thane? All good. And then 8.5, Health Sciences Rep Nini, do you have anything to add?
I'll take it as tabled. Any questions are welcome.
Any questions for Nini? Thane, just make sure you... No, all good. 8.6, Faculty of Humanities. Amari, do you have anything to add?
The one thing I will add is in terms of content warnings, we're looking at having the trial run starting week 7, so straight after tuition free, and hopefully running for the rest of the semester so we can actually get a good look at how this will be implemented. But other than that, no, I'll take it as table.
Any questions for Amari? I'd love to comment as well, like acknowledge that the good work you're doing on that content warning stuff. This could be something potentially that Amari takes university-wide, we're hoping. At some point, which would be absolutely amazing. And I told Amari this today, but I was in a meeting with education officers through the NUS a few days ago, and I told them about Amari's content warning project, and they were all absolutely like amazed. They were like, wow, I can't believe you're getting this through. That would be incredible. I hope that when that's successful, you can share what you did to us. So amazing work, Amari. Who do we have next? Student Assist. Is Joanne? Yes, Joanne's here. Joanne, would you like to add anything to your report?
Nothing to add. Happy to take questions.
All good. Were there any questions for that report? All good. We'll move on. IC President Kim, would you like to add anything to your report? Sat down at the right time.
I'll take my report as table, but I'm open to any questions.
Any questions for Kim? No? Okay. And PhD Rep Arifin, anything to add?
Nothing to add, but I'm happy to answer the question. Thank you.
Any questions for Arifin? No worries. And then Queer Officer Xavier, anything to add?
So regarding the ongoing student issue that I brought up last month at the last month's meeting, I did have a few updates to give that I couldn't put in the report because they're very recent. But basically, the Director of Gender Equity and Inclusion met with the involved staff member, and she let me know that they'd had an in-depth conversation about the issue. They had quite a few disagreements, but basically the conversation ended with the staff member agreeing to engage in some future learning, hopefully ally training. But that's kind of all that I can report on that. And basically that issue I'm going to consider resolved because I've taken it as far as I can. But otherwise, my report's is tabled and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Xavier. Any questions for Xavier? Seeing none, we'll move on to 8.11. Oh, nope, okay, submitted. 8.12, Accessibility Officer for Liz. Anything to add to your report?
Nope, it says tabled, but happy to answer any questions.
No worries. Any questions for Liz? I would just like to add for Liz, fantastic work with the Accessibility Department, Instagram and Facebook. Looks fantastic, very well done, like professional. Higher education developments. Marianne isn't here to comment on this, but would anyone like to ask questions or have any discussion on that report at all? Not seeing any? Okay, we'll move on. So I have a motion that the Representation Board notes those reports. Could I have a mover for that? Amari and a seconder. Hannah, awesome. Is there any discussion on that? No, all good. Could I see hands in favour of that motion? I think that's all hands in favour. I'll take that carried. Okay, items for discussion and resolution. Yeah, okay. So 9.1, increase the petroleum resources rent tax. I have a motion that the Representation Board endorse the Australian Institute petition to increase the petroleum resources rent tax. That's moved by Jasmine. Jasmine's not here. I'm assuming Jackie, would you like to move that motion? Yep. And do I have anyone who would like to second it? Thane? Yep. Jackie, would you like to speak to that at all?
So I've confirmed the background pretty much explains this, but there needs to be a reform to the PRRT to regulate the gas industry. So last year, the government received more than double the amount of revenue from HECS than it does from the gas industry within Australia.
Thane, would you like to add anything to that? Second it.
Sure, I'd like to add that the PRRT tax hasn't gone up in line with the growing profits in the oil and gas sector, and I think that should change.
Were there any questions on this motion or any discussion that anyone wanted to raise? Amari?
More just, obviously the actions are fairly self-explanatory, but I was more just wondering how much further we'll follow along with this, or if it's just going to be like the sharing it on the social medias and kind of that awareness raising aspect on it, or are we going to take more steps, or is this just a part of something else? Does that make any sense at all?
You want to answer? Go, Jackie.
So Jasmine was the original mover, but she's not here to talk about it. But this is something that I actually feel quite strongly about. I first became aware of it through like one of the TikToks from I think the Greens Party or something, and I got really upset about it because the government is profiting off students rather than the massive oil and gas industry that is like a dominant part of the West Australian economy, or the Australian economy as well. So it is something that I will happily advocate for. I can't speak for Jasmine, but yeah, it's definitely something that I'm happy to work on.
I'll assert as well, we are following along with how this campaign is going to go and probably try and support it where it's directing, but also from an EVP perspective, this sort of fact of how students are being taxed more than the fossil fuel industry, that's a very important fact to highlight sometimes when you're talking about the cost of education. This is something that we're not going to stop talking about in a lot of our advocacy generally, I think. Any other questions about this motion? Okay, I'll take it to a vote then. Can I see hands in favour of this? Yep. Any against? That's carried. All right. That was a short meeting. We're on to general business. Does anyone have any general business they would like to raise at this meeting? Max?
I would just like to say that there are a lot of upcoming events that are going to be happening in the next few weeks that will require a few hands on to help out and volunteer for those. They will be coming into your calendars as invites shortly, so just keep an eye out for that. And yeah, any help is always appreciated. We need a few hands on these events all the time, so yeah.
Jackie? Thank you, Max, by the way.
I just wanted to follow on from Max's thing. It is really important that the reps actually come to these things and help out. It helps the guild get more face time with students. It helps raise our brand. It helps us engage with students and actually explain to them what we do. So yeah, the more times that you guys can be face to face with students, the better it is going to be both for your position, for the guild, and also for the students to understand what we can do for them.
Amazing. Is there any other general business someone would like to raise? I do have one piece myself, but I probably shouldn't do it as chair, so I might have to cede the chair for this bit. Since Hannah was called last year, would you be okay with that, Hannah? Could someone move that motion? Jackie, could you move the motion that I cede the chair to Hannah for this general business part? Okay.
I move the motion that Hannah be elected as chair.
Is there a seconder for that? Thane? Sorry. And can I see hands in favour of that motion? Any against? That seems carried. Okay. I'll swap seats.
All right, Veronica, would you like to speak to your general business?
Yeah, so of course this, the Guild, and we've endorsed many times that we support a free Palestine. Now we've been asked for by a group called Students for Palestine, which is basically a group sort of run by the Socialist Alternative Club, from what it seems, has asked us to endorse an event they would like to run next week on Wednesday. It's basically a speak out, and they want students to wear kofiyas to show their support for Palestine. Now, the issue is that we've had a bit of concern from the Palestinian Society about this event being a bit tokenistic. Students for Palestine also wanted us to supply like some watermelon for people to eat during that time, and they're like, they haven't considered that it is Ramadan right now during that time. People will be fasting during the time they want to do it. I also have my concerns because this seems to be the second time that Students for Palestine has not consulted Palestinian people in their activism, and it's been quite discriminatory. If you read my report, I wrote a thing about the National Day of Action, the strike that got abysmal turnout, and they had to change the time because they hadn't consulted Palestinian people, and it showed that for Islamic people they had put it through originally during normal prayer time, and they had to change the time. For me, they've done 2 sets now of activism that they want to, that is supposed to be pro-Palestine, but realistically they've actually caused a lot of harm and a lot of, kind of say, mistrust to that autonomous community. So currently I'm proposing that maybe we don't endorse this event next week due to the concern that we've had from the actual Palestinian Society and from currently the track record from Students for Palestine, which I'm saying is actually not in the spirit of allyship. I don't know if anyone agrees or has any questions or any thoughts, but that's just what I wanted to put out as just a touch base because we've been asked to endorse it, and I'm a bit cautious right now because of what we've heard.
Anyone have any comments or anything? If not, did we want to just note that? Do we want to actually move a motion for it, or do you just want?
I don't want to move a motion. I just wanted to have a vibe check of like, does that sound like good with people or?
Mari?
Yeah, no, I agree. We don't want to be causing more harm, even if the intent is to raise awareness and to be positive. If the impact is it's going to actively be harming Palestinian students, if it's going to be done with no actual thought to them or their situation, then I agree that it would be irresponsible almost to endorse it.
Is that the vibe check I'm feeling around the room? If anyone disagrees, sure. There's also a reputational thing as the Guild, as an organisation. We're already getting complaints about the way this activism is being done, and I don't want to be supporting things that are looking tokenistic or negative.
Kim, did you want to say something?
Could we maybe make a suggestion to them, like that the Guild will only endorse your event if you kind of have a meeting with the Palestinian Club on campus and see what their interests are? Do you think that they would, take that?
Yeah, Kim, I would love that. And we have suggested that before, and we are trying to suggest that going forward as well. So I'm hoping that is what we can do going forward. But yeah, I've taken that on notice.
Okay. Any other comments?
I actually 100% agree with you, Veronica. I think if they're not willing to cooperate and take the opinions of Palestinian people when they're running a campaign for them, then no, I don't think we should be supporting that at all. So.
Okay, thank you. I'll take it then, and I'll get back to those people who've contacted us and say we're not really going to endorse that event next week. Thank you, everyone.
I will cede the chair back to Veronica.
I'm back, baby. Okay, if there's no other general business, I'll close the meeting at 5:58 p.m. The next ordinary meeting of the Representation Board is Thursday, the 11th of April at 5:30 p.m. to be held at Council Chambers. Documents and motions will be submitted no later than 5 o'clock on Thursday, the 4th of April, to the Secretary and myself. Please, people. Thank you.